Welcome, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. Welcome to broadcast number 100, by the way. Quite the milestone. We've been at this a while now, and of course, it doesn't seem like it's been that long since we try to get to you every couple days, but not always consistent. But we're trying, and it's a very crowded space. The INFJ YouTube. I'm not worried about that because what we're here to talk about is not going to be discussed or brought up in the same way by any other channel. And, you know, it's not a popularity contest. That's what I got to say. Anyway, I was scanning. I like to do a search for INFJ on YouTube. And then sometimes I'll filter by, popular or it always gives you the answers by relevant, which is very intriguing, right? And the one that always comes out on top is Sigma, and maybe we'll talk about that today. But one thing I did notice, a lot of times I notice if I sort by date uploaded or whatever, there's a lot of INFJ content from Asian YouTube, which I honestly, it's probably Japanese. I don't know my characters well enough to know, but it's huge. It definitely caught on over in that part of the world, which is very encouraging. And I have caught a couple of YouTube videos, and they do translate things into other languages now, which is pretty cool. Of course, you're not going to get in all the original inflections and things. Or my dragon accent probably won't come through in another language, but it's good to know. And I have had some people in the comments talking, from other places than where I am, and that's awesome. So into a little more meaty INFJ kind of topic, based on the kind of videos other people are making. May as well give our slant on it, since it's the same sorts of themes that hit us all as INFJs. And like I said, there seems to be a huge part of YouTube that's very focused on addressing our issues, and that's to the good. That's to the good. But what we do not tell other people, I thought that caught my eyes. And I got the fan on here. It's very hot on this tropical island, and I hope the volcano doesn't go off tonight. But if it does, that's all fine. It's all good. We're safe. Um, what we don't tell others plenty, because you don't get all that old as an INFJ before you realize that that look on people's faces when you're laying some ideas on them, like, what the hell? What? And of course, it would be like, I think it's in some ways easier, say, for maybe an INTP who's not going to be as dialed into what people are feeling. They can be quite insensitive at times and not care. I don't think that's a luxury that we can indulge ourselves in due to the extroverted feeling function. But it's not the dominant function, and if it was, we'd be ENFJs, and there'd be a lot less of us on YouTube, because ENFJs tend to be just busy with other stuff. They're not that. I don't think they're as conflicted, to be honest. But for them, I'm sure the NI is a weapon they wield. To make their way through the world in glorious and powerful resolution. I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I only know one person that. Well, we all know lots of people of all the types, but I only know one person that was an ENFJ, and interestingly, they tend to hang out alone, work alone all the time. But whatever. What else do we not tell other people, other than things we don't think they want to hear? We tend not to share our feelings very much, because a lot of times we don't care that much about how we're feeling, unless we do appreciate feeling good, and we like peace in our environment, and we like to have all the things that satisfy other human beings, like a nice living situation, and enough to eat, and meaningful work, and all that stuff. Loving relationships with people that care about you. And a lot of times, those loving relationships we have with others are relationships we're not sharing a lot of our deepest feelings and thoughts. And you're lucky if you are in a meaningful relationship with one of the types that is sensitive to us. I know that's for sure, the most sensitive to us, I think, are the ENFPs and the INFPs. They're very similar to us. And but maybe better adjusted to the world, and in that way they can be quite helpful to us. Another video I saw was well, this is quite a long one, and I was thinking about clicking on it, but honestly I don't care too much. And that's the how the mother's shadow molds your persona, right? And obviously, from the moment that we are, awake in the world looking around, it's the mother that's going to be the main thing in our field of vision, the source of sustenance, the source of safety, and to a large degree the father. But let's face it, the mother is always going to be the one that is there for you earliest on, and that is going to be the time that's going to be the most formative for your persona. And I think definitely, well, I don't know. I don't have a firm belief on this in this regard, but it seems to me that if you're an INFJ, you're born that way. I can't speak for other types, but it's a certain way your brain's wired. And but there's a lot to be said for the mother's shadow, and psychic communication in the womb. That was one thing that Ren was talking about. I don't think he used the word psychic or anything, but obviously there's a deep connection to the mother. What we are comes from her body, and what we are raised to be comes from her upbringing. And of course, hopefully you do have a good father, because they're a massive influence. And I think the father aspect comes in to play a little later on when we're learning how to adapt with a larger society. I think that's many places where I see the father influence being more dominant, whereas the mother's going to be tending to be more accepting. Of course, the mom's shadow, ooh, if you and INFJ and you were unlucky enough to have a mother that's a sort of insensitive type that won't get you or doesn't care to, that could be really devastating and crushing. And that wasn't the case. My mother was very supportive, and although definitely thought I was odd, but was supportive regardless. She accepted me for being who I was, and supported me in that way. And that gave me the kind of start that you need to be a visionary and live in a temple on a volcanic island and be successful as a visionary. But they still suffer. And that leads us to the next thing I want to talk about, which is, some of the videos I've seen available to us INFJs suggest that we suffer the most. And how can you know? How can you know, really? Maybe I think if being misunderstood is the cause of your suffering, then you are suffering the most. But if not understanding others is the cause of your suffering, then you're not suffering as much as an INTP. Not to make this particular broadcast about the INTPs, but that's just a fact of the matter. I've known them very well, and I've seen how they adapt to the world in many ways in a more elegant fashion than we do, and that they give less of a hoot about what other people be thinking. On the other hand, that suffering of not being understood and not knowing people don't want to hear what you have to say, at least not the true thing you want to say, there's a lot of pain there. It's a lot of very deep pain, and if you're not careful, that pain will help cast your shadow across your life in ways that are destructive. And it's very important. Last thing, it's very important to start working with that shadow. Don't let it be an unconscious part of your personality. Bring it out into the light. And even if there's things that you don't want to look at them and reconcile them. And while you're doing that, have a great day. Have a happy new year, INFJs. Thanks for coming and checking out this channel. And we're going to keep going, because We gotta keep on keeping on.